Welcome back, or welcome to Success Times Happiness. I am your host, Richard Thompson, and I thought with only 5 days left before my big sub-20 goal is attempted, I thought we would use this week's episode to deconstruct my take on goal setting and hopefully help you as the listeners to look at your goals differently and the way you set them and the way you go after them. And hopefully you get something worthwhile out of it. So for those who don't know, I do Ultraman Triathlon, 3-day stage race, big distances. And the world record I held, myself and my team held since 2017, and that was 21 hours and 21 minutes and 14 seconds. And I held that up until about a few months ago when a Serbian over in the United States raced and took 9 seconds off that time. So we're now talking 21 hours, 21 minutes, and if I can do quick math, 5 seconds. So he has the new world record, which is awesome. I'm happy for that to happen. But yes, this weekend on what is normally a challenging course, it's not a super fast course. There's a lot of elevation gain on both bike and run at Ultraman Australia, but we are going to be trying to break 20 hours. So that's taking essentially 81 minutes, at least 82 minutes off that time. So we set that goal almost 4 years ago, pre-COVID, thinking that we wanted to put a goal out there that we thought represented our truest potential, what we could, if we worked inside out, what we could actually achieve. And I guess this is the process. So the first step for us, or at least for me, I think you need to understand yourself better, generally, before setting a massive goal like this. You need to understand why you want to go after something in whatever space that you have, that you're playing in. I still felt like in Ultraman Triathlon that I believe I'm able to go faster, and I knew that journey to finding out how fast I could go would be a beautiful journey. I knew that if we did it correctly, and not perfectly by any stretch, but the task of working out how fast we could go was valuable. Not just the finish line, not just achieving a certain time, but it's the actual journey for me on reflection, or even at the start, to go, yeah, that is something that I want to go after, because I want to see how that time progresses, how that journey goes, not just the finish line. And obviously on reflection, so very grateful to have the opportunity to do that in my life. Like, it's such a cool, I appreciate that it's such a niche sport, and there's no prize money, and you know, but I do think that there's, for me at least, there was so much value and learnings, not just physically but mentally, that I've learned over the last 4 years. Like, so many things have happened in my life, good and bad, over the last 4 years, and for us to stay strong on the goal has been amazing, really. And I guess that's the point as well, right? So if you understand your why of what you're trying, like why you're wanting to go after a big goal, then the how, I believe, takes care of itself. So it doesn't matter what storm comes, it doesn't matter how heavy, how much discomfort you experience, or how many setbacks are along the way. Your why is so strong, and that you will not be derailed in the process. You will reflect upon the barriers or the hurdles that come up and think, these are just testing your resolve, or testing the strength of your why. And if it's locked strong at the start, then the confidence to stay the course will always be there. And I appreciate, right? So as individuals, we make promises to ourselves all the time, and we break a lot of them. It might be, I want to get to bed at 9 o'clock tonight, not watch any Netflix, and then you're up that night watching Netflix, or I want to floss every day and you don't floss because who can be bothered flossing, for example. Or I'm not going to go to the bakery this week, and all of a sudden it's Wednesday or Thursday and you drop into the bakery. And so the pattern of our history of setting a goal, no matter how big or small, and failing at that, failing ourselves at that. No one else knows about the bakery goal, but you know that you failed yourself. Sometimes I think casts a shadow over over someone's ability to set a bigger goal, because all they look at is their history and go, well, I can't even keep a promise to myself about not going to the bakery this week. How the hell am I going to, break 20 hours for Ultraman, or do, anything or whatever goal that you want to set? But it's important to differentiate the two, I think, because the strength of your why is only as strong as you make it, or as only as strong to you. So if the why is really strong about the bakery, you're not going to the bakery. You're probably not even you're going to deviate the drive so to avoid that completely, right? But maybe it's not so strong. So I think when you look back, or subconsciously or consciously look back at your life and look at the goals or the promises you've made to yourself that you haven't stuck to or you haven't achieved, it's probably also important to calibrate that with how strong your why is about that goal. Because I think the process of goal setting really relates to more so about honing in on your why and the purpose that you have to achieve that goal, or more importantly, to harness that process to achieve that goal. You need to focus on the process to achieve the outcome. So once you've understood what the outcome you want to achieve is, and you understand the driving force for you, how strong the why is, the purpose is to achieve that outcome in whatever field you're in, then you need to understand and reverse engineer what is the environment that you need to create to help you achieve that outcome. And that's, I believe, it's the creation of the environment. That's the goal. It's different to the outcome. So in the last 4 years, I've routinely created an environment that allows me to train 35 hours a week, and to do all the small things like running drills and even down to the sponsors and to the products and to the equipment that I'm using, to create the environment that allows me to achieve allows me the opportunity to arrive at the start line, to break 20 hours. The goal isn't to break 20 hours, if that makes sense. The goal has always been to create the environment to get me to achieve that, because you can't have the outcome without the process. And so if the focus and the joy comes from that, I believe the outcome takes care of itself. Now, in saying that as well, I believe that and there's so much history and so many examples to lean on, that the limits of what we can achieve is up to us. We are limited by our own imagination of what we want to achieve in this world, in all facets. And so people are unwilling to go after something huge for any number of reasons. It could be fear of failure. It could be that they don't want to be put into an uncomfortable situation. They don't believe in themselves, all of these things. But the truth is, it shouldn't come down to a question of, oh, maybe I won't be able to achieve it, so I won't go after it. There is true solace, I believe. There's an enormous benefit to going after something specific and putting all of your energy into that. And I believe if we all did that, it doesn't matter if the goal changes, but the process is the same, is that you are single-minded on one particular goal and you go after it with all your might. We would all be better people for that, rather than be aimless and have no direction and not really put in any effort at all. But where we want to go, what we want to achieve, and how much we achieve is up to us. Our potential is literally limitless when it comes to achieving something that we want. The caveat to that is you must want it, right? So you must be more willing than anyone else to be more consistent for a longer period of time. And the only way that you do that is if you really want it. Because as soon as, maybe not the first hurdle, maybe not the second, but the 99th hurdle that comes across might break you. But the next person who wants it even more won't break. They'll just see that as the part of the journey. And so I don't believe there is any overnight success when it comes to goal setting, or rather achieving your goals. But you just need to turn up every single day. And that is something that you will be able to do if your why and your purpose is strong. And so the goal that you do set needs to scare you, obviously. Otherwise, what are we doing? You might have a goal of brushing your teeth at night, but the sacrifice around that is not huge. And therefore you don't get that overwhelming feeling of success, or you're on a path to success, or that process to success at all, because the sacrifice is not necessary, or is not significant. And so the closer you see, there is a direct relationship between how big a goal is and the level of sacrifice that you need to take to help achieve that process, to achieve that outcome. And if you can embrace that and still be consistent with that sacrifice, that's when you start seeing, that's when you're on the path to greatness and path to achieving what that goal is. So I believe when you set the goal, there is a fine line between setting something that is fanciful and something that you're still not sure whether you'll be able to achieve. And you need to find the right balance. It needs to scare you. You need to have those butterflies in your stomach. But then you need to lock it down and go, yeah, that's exactly what I'm wanting to achieve. And then you reverse engineer your life to complement that process so that process can occur so you can achieve it. And then what that comes down to, once you reverse engineer the physicality of it, or how you physically achieve that goal, it might be to sell 200 more widgets next year. It might be whatever industry or area you are in. This is all the same. And then it comes down to your mindset in the process of achieving. So in that process piece, what your mindset is, and your team around you. And I've said it before that the bigger the goal, the bigger the team. So you can control your mindset. Obviously, your physical action or execution of that process will happen because your drive, your why, and your passion are locked in. So it doesn't matter how many hurdles come your way, the process, the actual physical execution of the process will occur. You just have to really control your mindset through that process. And you need to create an incredible team around you, because nothing can be done in this world without a team. Nothing's been invented, discovered, or created without an enormous team around a particular individual. So you need to understand what roles need to be filled. Maybe they're your weaknesses, maybe they're your strength, whatever's going to allow the team the best outcome to achieve the team goal. And then you focus on your mindset as well, so that you are ready to steer the ship when the seas are high, when the storm comes, and they will come thick and fast when you least expect it. But it's all about creating an incredible environment for that process so that you are able to achieve the outcome. And if you put all your attention, you need to have the focus, you need to have your why and your purpose about the outcome. And then you need to create the environment to allow the process to occur. And by doing that, it's focusing on your mindset so you're ready when things go awry. And you focus on your team, because without that team, you will not be able to succeed to the heights that you think is possible. And that is how you set and achieve goals, in my view, in my experience. And I come from a place of I still look at myself physically as a hack. I'm not that special aerobically or athletically. But I set that goal. We want to break 20 hours. That is what we believe as our, I guess, external representation of what our limits would be. Something underneath that 20-hour mark. And that's the external goal. And we need to, so then therefore, that's the outcome. So we, obviously, what happens on race weekend, or those 3 days, will be up to us. We control what we can control, and we let go of what we can't control. But I'm talking about, how do I get to the start line being able to do that physically and mentally? Therefore, then the focus for me has always been, okay, how do I get my life into a place where I can handle 35 hours of training a week? Because that, I know, by doing that healthily or in good health, will put myself in a place to physically be able to achieve that goal. And so then we go, okay, how do I create an environment where I can handle 35 hours a week in training with all the other balls in the air of life and responsibilities and everything still up in the air, and I haven't dropped anything. And so then you could work backwards from there. In my mind, the biggest roadblock in that crumbling down, or that being unable to achieve that to allow that process to occur, is my mindset, and it's my team. Because they're the 2 biggest factors. The execution bit, I can go out and train 35 hours a week, no problem. Anyone can do anyone in my space can go out and do a 7-hour, a big ride or a big run. But it's the consistency, it's the back-to-back, it's the week on week on week, the month on month on month. The biggest things that will take away from that process is mindset and team. And so this preparation, I've been so focused on that, on making sure my mind is just so ready to handle anything that life throws at it, to still continue to that 35-hour training a week, so that we can get to the start line ready. And I know that I can't achieve this without my team, extended team around me. And so every moment is a process of how to create that team stronger, tighter, bigger if necessary, smaller if necessary. And it's that continuation of that attention to detail on that teamwork that's really vital as well. Life is too short to sit there and be just another sheep in the flock. And so that's what the whole Sub-20 Challenge has been about, is to inspire people to go after their goals, go after their dreams on a larger scale, to believe that, to truly believe that you're not limited, and you can go after anything that you want to set your mind to. So thank you for listening. Any questions, please feel free to drop me a message, and until next time, peace.